Hi there, Rebecca Matter here. Lately I've been talking to a lot of freelancers about crossing over from the learning side to actually getting out there and working. And I'm finding again and again that they're missing one thing, and that's confidence in actually getting out there and working as a freelance writer. So I called my good friend in, Nick Usborne, who's a copywriting expert, 35 years of experience, but also a coach. He's coached several dozen copywriters over the last 10 years to help us today. So thank you for joining me, Nick.
You're very welcome.
So this confidence issue, it's one thing to take programs and get skills. It's another thing to actually get out there and start working. What do we do?
Certainly knowing your craft, whatever it is, if you have a level of competence where you think, you know what, I have what it takes to deliver value, then that's a huge strength and confidence booster.
But even in that, there's a confidence issue right there. How do you know that you have the skills? How good do you have to be, I guess, before you go out there and say, okay, I'm a copywriter, I'm ready to take on projects?
All right, so let's go back. So you talk about me with my 35 years.
Right.
All right. I used to have 35 hours of experience as a freelance copywriter. And I went out looking for work. All right. So I've lost my track. Don't stop. But what was it? What was I saying?
How do you know that you have enough confidence when you are just starting out in your skills?
Enough experience, enough knowledge.
Experience or knowledge,
right.
Competency.
So you start with what you've got. So you haven't asked me to do this, you probably don't want me to do this, but I'll just do a little pitch, is that I know you guys, and that basically if you've taken a program with you guys with AWAI, I know the programs, and I know that when a program is completed, that students will have a level of competence that they are ready to walk through the door. And I think that's one of the biggest things that we need to understand, is that when we walk into even a small business and someone has a notice on the door saying president or whatever, we feel intimidated. Or we go into a slightly larger company where they have a marketing director or a marketing manager, and they have a desk and they're wearing a suit and they have stuff in the office and pictures and stuff. We feel intimidated, like they're real business people and somehow we're just a lowly freelancer. The truth is that if you've studied for something and you've achieved a level of competence, like you completed a program, you know more than that person.
True.
You truly do. And I still get nervous. A while back, I went to do a day's training for a very large company, a massive company. And I was training all their content people, their content marketing people. And I had this moment of that's scary. And then I thought, well, no, it's not, because I've been down this road a lot, and I know that, content marketing, web writing, copywriting is what I do. It's not what they do. They may have titles relating to it, but when you work in a company, you have dozens of different responsibilities.
Right.
Even if you're a managerial level, you've got to report to your boss, you've got to do reports for your boss, you've got to take care of the people working under you, you've got 100 different things on your plate. We don't. We have a skill. I'm an online copywriter, I'm a content writer, I'm a social media writer, I'm whatever it is, or for a particular niche. That's what I do. When you focus on that, you'll find that whatever company you go into, you'll be amazed. You absolutely know more than they do.
We've actually had people write in saying, I mentioned a couple of things from this accelerated program, and they called me a marketing genius. That's exactly right. Exactly right.
This is not what they do.
Right.
As soon as you become a specialist and you get the training you need, you are ahead of 90%, 99% of any of the people you're going to come across. And this is true regardless of the size of the company. And people find it very, very hard to believe. So they think, oh, well, I'm just getting started. I just put up my website. I think I'll just go to really small companies to begin with. And it's like the toe in the water, and you can do that. In fact, I did something similar to that early on, just to kind of build a portfolio. But actually, you don't need to. You can actually go into a mid-sized company or somewhere in between small and mid-size, and you can be a hero from day one.
Okay.
Because they do not know this stuff, and you do.
So you have the skills, and assuming you've taken a program, and like the accelerated program for six-figure copywriting, you've finished the program, you have the skills, but now I'd like to just take another program because that feels really safe. I want to learn something else instead of crossing over to the working side. How do I have the confidence in my skills now, how do I make that next step? What is the next step I have to take? How do I get myself out there and say, I'm open for business?
Well, all right, so everyone gets that feeling of, oh my goodness, I'm ready, I've done it, I got my website.
This is real.
I need to start getting on the phone or sending out emails, and there is this divide and it's scary. And I'll tell you why, because most of us have never been our own boss before. Most of us have never been in the driving seat of a business. And like as a freelancer, you have a small freelance business. It's a one-person business. But for most of us, we've never, ever had that experience of having to drive the vehicle ourselves.
Right.
We've always had a boss, or we had a teacher, or we had a parent. There's always been someone telling us what to do. And for a lot of people, this is the very first time we are faced with, wow, there's nobody here to help me, nobody to tell me what to do. It's all down to me. And it's a kind of gulp moment. And the truth is, you just have to. It's like I was saying, learning to ski. You do it. Are you gonna fall down sometimes? Sure you are. But you just have to keep doing it. You keep doing it.
So what are maybe some tips or some advice if I'm sitting at home and I'm saying, okay, I've got the skills, I know I need to get out there and do it, but what do? I think you made a good point. Now they're business owners, so it's easy for me to say, just treat it like a business.
All right, I got a story for you.
Well, hold on. But if you're not a business owner, or if you've never owned a business before, that might not mean anything to you. So for that person, how do you build confidence in them of what do they do? What steps do they take to actually get out there and start working?
Am I going to? I'm not sure I'm answering your question, but I think I'm answering.
You never answer my questions directly.
I think I'm answering a question like. I'm going to say.
I'm going to tell you what I want to tell you, no matter what.
Something helpful, useful. So I had this coaching client, very competent. She was a good copywriter. It was early stages. She was just starting out.
This is a coaching student?
Yeah, this is a coaching student from a while back. And she was talking about just that chasm, that gap. So I said, well, look, tell me about your routine when you get up in the morning and sit down to work at your desk. And it was like, well, I kind of, I do stuff around the house. And then sometimes she sat down at her desk at 8 o'clock, sometimes at 10 o'clock, sometimes not till after lunch because she didn't have clients, didn't have a schedule. And I said, well, what do you typically wear, as you're wandering around the house each day? And she said, well, just the usual kind of comfortable weekend stuff. So I said to her, look, next week, like before our next call, I want you to start work at, I don't know what your home routine is and stuff, but let's say start work same time every day, 9 o'clock. And I want you to get dressed as if you were going to the office, all right, as if you were going to work. And then I want you to sit down at 9, and you can have a tea break at 10:30, and then you can have a lunch break at 12. So I gave her a structure, just temporarily.
Like a boss or a parent.
Right. So temporarily, I was giving her something that she felt familiar with, which was someone else telling her what to do. And so the coaching call was like once a week. A week later, she rings up. She's picked up 3 clients. And so I'm feeling pleased with myself. But she said, look, I'll tell you, there was actually only one thing you said to me that was useful. She said, what I did is I put on my power clothes for business.
The confidence.
And she said, I made myself up as if I were going to a serious meeting. And when I got on the phone, I was that person. Because she had I'm not sure what her, she was, I don't know, I guess she was in her 40s, I don't remember exactly. But she worked for companies before. And so what she did is she took off that personal persona thing, and she put on this mantle, this professional persona. And she picked up 3 clients.
That's
awesome. So you can play tricks. There's the outer game.
I actually was going to ask you.
Right.
Nick talks about this outer and inner game. I'd actually like you to go into that and explain the difference.
So the outer game is one, achieving competence. In other words, completing a course.
Okay.
Beyond that, it is learning the steps. Like, what steps can I take? Okay, I need to build a website. What are the ways that I can market to my prospects? What niche am I going to be in? What are the best ways to reach out? So, and again, the more of these steps you learn in the how-to, now I have competence, and then I need to know how to acquire my first few clients. Once you understand those steps, and hey, you can have it written out on a sheet of paper if you want, then you're going to feel more comfortable because you know what to do.
Right.
All right? So that's the outer game, knowing what to do. The inner game is all those little devils inside that tell us we're not good enough.
We're fake and not ready and...
And it's true, and we have these 2 people. We have our home version, our personal. I mean, I tell this story sometimes of, you can imagine a big bad bully of a boss on Wall Street, firing people, and he's in his suit and he gets his limo back home at the end of the day after his meetings and cocktails and all that stuff, and he's fired another 3 people by then, and he walks into his big home, and he opens the door, and his teenage son's left his backpack like all over the floor, and the dad says, "Hey, come and pick up your backpack," and the kid says, "Whatever," and walks away. All right, there's our home life where we're just dad or mom, and there's our business life where we can be something completely different. So that I think is really helpful, is if we build up for ourselves this professional persona.
You have the skills. If you've taken a program from AWI, you're competent in the area. That's the goal of the program, is to get you able to take on those projects by the time you finish the course. So if you've taken a program, you're ready. Just get out there, be a professional, come up with a schedule, and just pretend. Even if you have to act it out for a few days, a few weeks, even months, or 35 years later, it's okay. We're all in the same place. We all have that
I have my
insecurities.
I have my insecure
yeah.
self. I absolutely have my insecure. I mean, I don't share it too much. I probably share it to you occasionally when I'm feeling a bit whiny, but but yeah, it's always there. It's always, and it's true. You ask, a banker or the CEO of a company, if they tell you they never feel small or insecure or stuff, if they say they never feel that way, they're lying. We all do. We all do.
We all do. Well, good. Well, hopefully that helped, and thank you so much again for joining me today. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
See you later. Bye.
Bye-bye.